Hello, ladies.
Hello.
So good to see you. Thank you for joining us on our little podcast, and we're really happy to have you here. We're just going to jump right into it. First thing, I want you to just say your name, let us know where you're from, and then tell us one word that describes how you're feeling right now. I'm going to start with Christina.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that. Hi. My name's Christina Norman. I'm from the BK, from Brooklyn, originally from the Boogie Down Bronx, representing New York. And right now, I feel full.
I like that. All right, we're going to come back to that. Byna?
Byna Elliott. I'm from Detroit, and I would say my word is refreshed.
Okay, refreshed. I love it. Talitha?
Hi, Talitha Watkins, originally from Jamaica, Kingston. And today I feel open.
Open. I love it. I think it's so important to realize where you are right now. But now I want to take us back a little bit. We really want to share some insights to our listeners about how we got where we are and what we're looking forward to. So I'm really interested in hearing a little bit about your career success, your journey. You know, what were some of the pivotal points that kind of helped you frame your vision and got you where you are today? So I'll start with Talitha this time.
Amazing question, and I love talking about my career journey. Many of the women in the leading women room have been very important to my career success. I remember watching moves Christina has made in the trades and just thinking, wow, this is incredible. The space that she's taken up for people in content, people in marketing, and just like aspiring to have that kind of career. I remember having breakfast with Michelle Thornton Michelle Thornton G. Let me not get that wrong.
Because she comes for all
and her giving me really great advice on when I wanted to make a pivot in my career. And so I would say I've remained connected to my network, open to meeting new people, and just curious about things. I think my curiosity has taken me through marketing, to the representation world, to now entrepreneurship, and running my own company with partners, and hopefully making a difference for Black creators and creators of color.
Absolutely. Will you share what your current role is?
Yes, so I am partner and president and head of management of ColorCreative Management and Productions. We are a full-service management and production company. My partners are Issa Rae and Denise Davis, and our mission is to give first-class representation to women and BIPOC creators and to help launch the next generation of entertainment startups.
Well, that just said everything. Okay, we're going to come back. I have so many other questions. Byna.
Yeah, so for me, I would tell you that I'm standing on a bunch of shoulders like she talked about. I've been in financial services most of my life. And what I think really was pivotal for me is that at some point in your life, you decide that you have to show up to work fully you. And what that means is that you can't sort of code switch anymore. You have to say who you are and what you're about and who you represent. And what I found is that once I showed up fully me, that's when my career took off. And so that means that when you show up and really articulate your lived experience and speak truth to power, you can get respect and you can take up your space and you can create space for others. So when I think about my career, I think there are a couple key ingredients, is that I always showed up ready to get the work done. I didn't care about my title, but I cared about the work. And that I always was honest and really leaning in and say, I can do more, and if you give me a chance, I'll show you. And then taking my opportunities. There's a lot of times I didn't feel like I could do it, but I was willing to overcome my fear to take a chance and create space, and then by doing so, I also allowed others to figure out that they can also ascend in the organizations I worked at.
Well, I'm curious, when you mentioned kind of bringing your fuller self, did it result in a job change, or was there a particular, did you go from a point A to a point B, or how did that manifest?
So actually, I got promoted. And one of the things is that I realized is that there was a lot of people talking in the room, and they had a different perspective than mine. And at first I was like, well, they know more than me, so let them make a decision. And my boss says, you know what, I have you in the room for a reason. And you have a look on your face, so that means I don't have a poker face. That said, are they crazy? Like, this is not the way you should be doing this. And he said, so can you give your perspective? So I said, well, here's what I think. And it changed the room. And it let me know that my voice mattered, and that when you speak up and have a different perspective, it's okay. And you can actually change the room. So they were all going down one path. And I said something that was very different, and my boss says, that's a great idea. And everybody just sort of shifted. And it really was an amazing experience to know that your voice, when you use it, can change the room and create opportunities for others.
I love that, using your voice. Christina, tell us a little bit about your journey. And
I would never use, in the past I don't think I would ever use the word resilient to describe myself, but I think we all talked about this earlier, this notion of endurance, and we are resilient. And I think I've sort of have been trying to reflect on that a little bit more in my own career, and I relate so much to everything that Talitha and that you said, just about putting your hand up, because that's something that I always felt like was something that helped propel me in my career. Like, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out, because there's gotta be something on the other side of this. And also all these friends in my head that I've had for so long, the women in this room that I was like, I don't know her, but I knew if we knew each other, we would be friends, and she would help me and support me, and using that to sort of propel me forward. So, I feel like the other thing that came up earlier today was this notion of, what do you believe? What do I believe? And I believe in the power of what's to come. I believe that I am not done, and that I still have more to give and more in me, and that's sort of what pushes me forward. And reflecting back on how I got here, I didn't necessarily know how to name those things, but I think those were all the things that were there.
And can you explain what you're doing now?
So now, I'm the head of content for the National Basketball Players Association, which is, and I feel like I say this all the time, not the NBA, but we represent the players. So I'm making content for, by, and about the players of the NBA.
Oh, that's so exciting. So it's so interesting. Each of your journeys are so different. There's definitely some similarities that I'm hearing. I'm curious, what are one or two things that you wish someone would have told you a little earlier that might have unlocked some of these lessons maybe a little earlier for you? I'll start with Byna this time.
So I guess the one or two things that I wish people what I would have told myself was, raise your hand. Ask for what you want, know your worth, and stick to it. So it took a while to say, I have to fight for myself. Opportunity is not going to come into the door and they're not going to give it to you. You have to ask for it. And then you have to sit there and negotiate and know that they're not going to just say, you're worth it and here's what we're going to pay you. That you have to say, no, I'm doing the homework and I'm researching, and this is what my worth is. And I'm clear about it, and I'm not gonna sell myself short.
I appreciate that.
Knowing your worth is so important. And I remember one of my first promotions, my boss and I were walking down the hall going to a meeting, and he turned to me and he said, hey, I just got you another $5,000. You're getting a raise. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. This is so, like, what? Who does that? Who does that? Like, that's crazy. But like, knowing my worth is important. And I think I still struggle with that a bit. And also being kind to myself, forgiving myself, because we are all works in progress, and I am learning and growing every day, and we are all hard on ourselves. And I gotta start like I say to my daughters all the time, if you had a friend who talked to you the way you talk to yourself, you would dump them.
Wow.
Right? So like, how do I self-talk better?
I love that, self-talk better. What do you got for a tip?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I really resonate with what Byna said about, fully showing up as your full self. I think it took a lot in my career to get to that point. I'm really pleased to see that this next generation is way more better, and I do mean more better at doing that. I mean, as much as the millennials get a bad rep, I think it has given a lot of my generation, and I'll speak for the women in my circle, that acknowledgement to say, you know what, we actually have more that we could bring to the table, especially seeing what they have their expectations are. And the B part to that would be like merchandise what you do. You know, I'm a marketing person first. I started in marketing and I spent so much time talking about all the things that we did, and I never really spent time talking about all the things that I did. And once I started merchandising my work to the right people, that's when I went from having mentors to having sponsors.
And I love that article on you the other day. I just read, by the way.
Thank
Yeah, it was
you.
very nice. I want to shift gears before we wrap and talk about money. I found that one of the things that was really lacking in kind of my home and kind of moving forward was focusing on wealth building, and I'm wondering if you could each share a little bit about kind of what you've done, some tips of the trade, or some things that people should be thinking about doing as they build their businesses, as they just are living. So I'll start with you, Byna.
So I'm a banker, so I live it every day.
Right, exactly. So we want to take notes.
So I believe you should always automate as much as you can. Automate your savings, automate your bill paying, so that you can make sure that you have good credit because your bills are paid on time, and that you pay yourself first. And I also encourage people to buy something like an asset that increases in value, whether it's your stock portfolio or a home. You know, you have to build wealth, and to do so, you have to invest in things that increase in value and are things that you can touch and liquidate. So I would say automate everything that you can, whatever you can do, whether it's your tithes, whether it's your savings, automate it, because out of sight, out of mind. If you pay yourself first, it makes a big difference.
No, that's so helpful, because yeah, it just reminded me.
So I grew up in a home where we didn't talk about money, and I don't think I ever knew what my parents made. My dad died in the summer of 20, and as we were cleaning out the apartment, like, he had every check he'd ever written, he had every pay stub practically he ever had, and I was like, oh, that's how much he made. Like, I had no clue. So my thing would be talk about it. Talk about it a lot. It's like, it's still shrouded in secrecy. There's some laws in New York now where they've got to post salary ranges of jobs, which I think is important to sort of get people to like, this is what this job is worth. And really starting to understand that, because I think there's still, it's way too shrouded in mystery. And I think we got to shed a lot of light.
I mean, these ladies hit on all the points. Right. And I think if I were to add anything, it would go to that exact moment that you shared, Christina, about like being grateful for the bit of money they threw you, and just like knowing that a negotiation is two parties really getting to something that they both want. Instead of feeling like you're against someone in a negotiation, just know that when you're negotiating, you both want the same thing. You both want to get to a resolution. And there's a number there, and you deserve the top end of that number. So you can go into a negotiation very respectfully, getting every single dime that's on that table.
So, okay, I feel invigorated. I feel ready to go ask for some more money and get what we need. Well, I just want to thank you ladies so much for sharing your wisdom and your information and your ideas and your vision, and just thank you for spending a little time with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making
space.
Thank you.
Thank you.